Hi, this is John Piniella, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Guitar Just Because We Love It. Now in today's video, I'd like to speak with you about a collection that I've been putting together of what I believe to be are some of the finest clones of the legendary Klon Centaur, built by Bill Finnegan. Now before we dive into some of this collection, I'd like to ask a couple of favors of you. If you would, please hit the like button if you're enjoying the content that I've been putting up on this channel. Please subscribe. And by the way, if you subscribe, please hit the bell so that you'll be notified when I put up a new video. Okay, enough housekeeping. Let's kind of dive right into it. So the first pedal I want to show you today is what's called the Klone, and that's the Klone with a K. Seems to be the thing when it's Klon clones. And this one's built by a company called Arc Effects. Now, this is the first pedal that I ever bought when I thought about putting together a collection of Klon clones. Beautifully made pedal, sounds really good. The builder is meticulous in the components that are used and the tolerances, getting as close as he can to what's in an original Centaur. And I think he's done an incredible job with this pedal. Now, I typically use all of my Klon clones as a clean boost, which means that the gain control is turned completely off, or at most up around 9 o'clock when I'm using a single coil guitar like a Telecaster or a Strat. But pretty much that's the way I use it. I leave the volume about on noon or adjust to make sure I've got unity, and I keep the treble control about noon. So very simple, nothing fancy, but it works for me. So first up again, the Arc Effects Klone. Now the next pedal that we're going to talk about is called the Decibelix Golden Horse. Now I got to tell you guys, this one might be my personal favorite. I love the form factor. It's really pedal board friendly, but this thing sounds amazing. And if you go on Reverb and you go on eBay, you'll see them, but they're hard to get. You got to be patient to get one. But if you research them on the internet, you'll see that a lot of people swear by this pedal, and that the builder, who happens to be in Barcelona, Spain, is meticulous in what he's done in building this clone. Love this thing. Love the form factor. I think it sounds amazing. Now the next one up is the J-Rocket Audio, Archer Icon. Now this one is obviously much more mass produced. And the reason I have this in my collection is it just sounds great. The funny thing about this pedal though is that the builder claims, J-Rocket, that the Icon sounds like the gold Klon compared to the silver Klon. Bill Finnegan will tell you there isn't any difference. So I don't know. I think it sounds great. It's a bright pedal, has a little bit more gain than some of the other ones that I own. I've used it on my board. I've used it in studio. Sounds wonderful. Love this thing, the J-Rocket Archer Icon. Next up is another one of my personal favorites. This is the Jag Freer Klone. Yep, Klone with a K again. Now this is a pedal that's made in Italy. Not that easy to get. They are currently being made, but you gotta wait a while if you want to try and order one. Wonderful pedal, much larger form factor. Sounds great, not overly bright. Gain control works really well. If it's counterclockwise, fully off, it's really a wonderful clean boost. I love this thing. In particular, for some reason, my Telecasters sound amazing through this pedal. So here's another one for you guys to think about, the Jag Freer Klone. Okay, moving right along, here's another one that's really interesting. This is called the Klone. Here we go again. This is made by a company called Make Sounds Loudly. It's one guy. He builds these pedals one at a time. Build quality is incredible. And as you can see, there's something fancy here. This is a brushed aluminum enclosure, no fancy graphics, no paint. This is just a solid enclosure for an amazing pedal. Love this thing. Now, one little difference in this pedal, and this is the only one in my collection that has one extra thing that you won't see in an original Klon. And that is this control right here, which is a boost control. So this is, in essence, two pedals in one. You've got the Klon over on the right side, the three regular controls that you always see, gain, volume, treble, and then you've got the boost. But he's got the two circuits completely separate. So if you're just using the Klon clone part of it, that's what you're getting. But you can also add in the boost, which is an additional feature. I don't really use that. I use this thing as a clone. Love the pedal, great builder. I own a bunch of his other pedals as well. Highly recommend this one. Again, makes sounds loudly, the Klone. Now next up, we have something from a company called Monsterpiece Fuzz. Now this pedal is really an interesting pedal. Aside from the crazy color, and I'm not really big on these, these kind of colors, but this is what he had available when I ordered it. And these are the ones, again, that you need to wait for if you want one. They're still being made, but you're not going to get it in a week. This is a bright pedal. One of the things about this one that I really like is the gain control is really transparent, and it's like just a 5% difference between the tone of your guitar into your amp and then when you turn this thing on. There's just something about this that I feel it's a very subtle change. Now, as you move up the drive control, now you're getting into overdrive territory. But as I said, I don't use it that way. So this is Monsterpiece Fuzz, and the name of this pedal is the Stud Overdrive. Okay, moving right along. Next up, we have Mythos pedals. Now, I know you guys have all heard of them. And Mythos makes a Klon Overdrive or Klon Clone that is called the Mjolnar. This is the Wildwood edition. Now, this one has, from what I've read, some slightly different components in terms to being right on to what the original design was. There's no tweaking, no extra take here. This is, here's what I think a Klon would sound like if I was building one today. This is a wonderful pedal and one of my personal favorites. I love the tone when the overdrive or the gain control is turned completely off. Just love it as a clean boost. I've used it on my pedal for quite a while, especially with the band that I play in. Great, wonderful pedal. The Mythos Mjolnar Wildwood Edition. Check it out. Okay, next up we've got one from a company called Pedal Monsters, and this again is called the Klone with a K Overdrive. So let's talk about this one. This one, to me, is just right in there. It's great as a clean boost. It's great with the gain up around 9 o'clock for single coil guitars. I love it. It sounds great. It's very transparent. There's nothing about it that seems to be different than any of the others. As a matter of fact, it's right in there. It works. It does the job. I love it. It's part of the collection. Really cool pedal. Once again, Pedal Monsters, the Klone Overdrive. Okay, moving right along. Now this one is another one of my personal favorites, and this one's really hard to get because it hasn't been made in a long time. And this is the Piedmont Custom Electronics Aluminum Falcon. This is one heck of a pedal. It's big, so it's not real pedal board friendly, but boy does it sound good. I learned about this pedal through an acquaintance of mine, a guy named Don Miller, who's a wonderful guitar player here in New Jersey, and he told me I should check out the Aluminum Falcon. I didn't even know what the heck it was, but I went on Reverb right away, like I always do, and after, really getting out there week after week after week, this one finally popped up, and I grabbed it. This thing sounds really good. One of the best sounding, to my ears, Klon clones that I own in the collection. Great pedal. Piedmont Custom Electronics, the Aluminum Falcon. Okay, moving right along. Now we've got one that's another one of my personal favorites, and this is the Rimrock Mythical Overdrive. Love the color of the knobs, because I'm sort of a fan of green. This is sort of a light green. I think it looks really amazing. This thing sounds awesome. This is one of the newer ones to my collection. I can't really say much except that it sounds amazing. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very musical. There's nothing harsh about it. Love it. Glad I added it to the collection. So there it is, guys. The Rimrock Mythical Overdrive. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. Now we're going to talk about the Ryra, and once again, the Klone, again with the K, original. This is a great one. This one you can get relatively easily. It sounds good. I think the gain control, when it's completely counterclockwise, off position, still gives the amp a little more kick than some of the other ones. but I like it. I think it sounds great. Love the color, the sparkle purple. It's a pretty awesome pedal. It was one of the earliest ones that I added to the collection. Love this thing. Had it on my board. Can't say enough good things about it. Check it out, the Ryra Klone. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. Now we're going to talk about a pedal which is made by a company called Stigtronics, and the pedal's called the Tone Vitamin. Slightly different form factor than some of the others, but this thing doesn't take a backseat to anybody. It's a bright pedal. I think the gain control, when it's fully counterclockwise, does that extra 5% thing. The builder's a wonderful guy. I had traded emails with him when I ordered this thing. He was so responsive, really cool. Love this pedal. Check this guy out. Stigtronics Tone Vitamin, a very worthy Klon clone in my opinion. Okay, we're getting near the end, guys, I promise. Okay, now this one is a really special one. This one is really, really hard to find, and this is a company called Tone Monk, who I don't even think exists anymore, and this particular pedal is called the Phoenix. This thing is killer, absolutely killer. Took me a long time to find one of these that would be available that I could acquire. But when you go on the internet and you research the Tone Monk Phoenix, you'll read and hear about some really cool stuff. People love this pedal. I wouldn't say it's legendary because that's not what it is, but it's got a bit of a following because in many people's minds, this is a spot on, right on the money, Klon clone, perfect. Love it. The Tone Monk Phoenix. Okay, last but not least, we have the Way Huge conspiracy theory. Now, one would think, so why would we have a mass-produced pedal, very inexpensive, in this collection? Well, I'll tell you why. This thing sounds great. This thing sounds as good as any of the clones I own. Love this pedal. Not that easy to get. If you go on Sweetwater and try to buy one, you might wait a couple months. They're really popular because the price is right and it sounds phenomenal. I would use this pedal any day. I've had it on my board. It's so enjoyable, so musical. So there it is. Okay, guys. So that's it for today. I just wanted to share with you, some of the pedals I've been collecting in my Klon Clone Overdrive collection. I personally think that some of these pedals are just so cool. And if you can get your hands on one, or if you're interested in getting a Klon clone, because like me, you're not going to go out and spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on an original Klon Centaur, you might just find, with some of the pedals I showed you today, something that'll really suit your needs. So there you have it, guys. That's going to be it for today. I'll see you again soon. And what is it about the guitar? Well, it's just because we love it. Take care, everybody.